And I walked in, they were all set for this big photograph, and they're all lined up. I said, this is a good-looking group of people. Sometimes I don't like to take photographs with people that are too good-looking, because you don't look so good. But I did it. I did it. But it's a great family, and to Diamond's incredible sister, no one knew better than Diamond how blessed she was to have you at her side. She wouldn't have been the same person. She wouldn't have been. And I see it now more today. You know, I don't know if I thought it that way. I see it now totally today because I got to know you better today and maybe watching one of the most incredible speeches. You all made incredible speeches. Incredible speeches. And not easy to do. I tell you, I was almost going to say a few of them I want. I'd like to use that if I may. You know, you're not allowed to plagiarize. Biden can tell you that. But I'm going to plagiarize. I'm going to steal so much of these speeches tonight because some of the words of wisdom, including you, by the way, some of the words, some of the lines are so beautiful and so insightful. But she loved you so much. She loved everybody. She really loved everybody. And what she was doing that's for the country. She saw what was happening. To Diamond's son, Paris, her father, Elder Freeman Hardaway, Sr., her brother, Freeman. These are incredible people. Her sister, Parika, that's a nice name. And the rest of the Hardaway family, please know that we share in your grief. That's why you have such an incredible crowd of people. I said, let's pick a big place. I don't care. Don't worry about it. Just pick a big place. Because the chapel wouldn't have held the kind of people, the number of people that we have. And we're doing it right, and that's the way it should be. And I did notice a big line of very, very nice vehicles outside. That's going to be handled properly, right? So we're going to handle it properly. Go out in style. She knew that. Go out in style. But she's not going out. She's not going out. She's going to be with us. Millions of Americans are mourning this loss, and that's true. I've had so many people that heard I was coming to this today that said, oh, it's great. I was at a big meeting this morning with a lot of very substantial people, very wealthy people. Some of them good, some of them horrible human beings. That's how they became wealthy. But they said to me, that's really nice. You're going to North Carolina today. That's really nice. They really liked it. And they really liked it because they liked her. And they liked Silk. And they liked that I was going. So, and I'm much happier now. I'm much happier now that I came than I was even when I was on the journey over. Because I learned so much today. I learned so much. So we want to keep Diamond's memory alive, and you're going to be able to do that. You are going to do that, Silk. The first time I heard about Diamond and Silk was from our great First Lady, very popular First Lady, I have to say. She was on the cover of so many magazines until she met me. Then they said, keep her off covers. She was a great, great beautiful woman. She was on so many magazines, and then she meets Trump, and they say, let's keep her off, even though their sales, what they don't figure, Mike, is that their sales would have doubled, tripled, quadrupled. And the cool thing about her is she couldn't have cared less. She couldn't have cared less. But she came to see me. She said, do me a favor. Come over here. I said, I don't have time for this. What is it? No, you'd have to come right now. I said, okay, yes, ma'am. We know how that is, right? You know how that is. I know you are married to a strong one too, right? But she said, there are these two unbelievable women on the internet. There was really nobody on the internet, deep down. And it's incredible to watch. Could you just watch this, please? All right, okay. So I did, and I immediately looked at these two people. I said, it took me like 30 seconds. I said, this is incredible. It was Diamond and Silk. And they were deep down on the internet, too. They were very similar to what they became. They just had a little nicer dresses, a little nicer outfits later on. But the same thing, you know, I hope you're making a lot of money. I hope you have to go with everything else. I hope they deserve it. They took a lot of heat. But they look the same, I mean, as they do. They haven't changed. And they were doing their shtick, as they say. And I said, this is incredible. And we watched and we watched, and then we found out about them. And eventually I met with them, and we got to know each other, and we liked each other. And you went on to great success, but more importantly, I think the success you wanted was really for people to see what was going on, both good and bad in our country. Good and bad. A lot of good things happened. I don't see them happening now, but we'll straighten it out. But you wanted to make sure that our country knows what's happening. And it was really an incredible, that was the First Lady. Please take a look. And I looked, as soon as I saw him, I said, you got to be kidding. This is incredible. So sharp, so smart, so beautiful, so cute. So they'll say, oh, you shouldn't say cute. It's terrible to say. No, they were cute and beautiful. They were everything. And a few months later, I invited the duo to a rally right here in the great state of North Carolina, which we won twice, very big. And I want to thank Laura for that, because Laura was great. You know, you have a great new senator, Ted Budd. Before Ted, because I knew Ted in it, but I asked Laura, would you do it? And she said, no, I'd rather not. She could have walked away with it. She wouldn't have even had a campaign. I said, Laura, you're so popular here, you wouldn't even have to campaign. She would have won. But she also knew that Ted Budd was a great guy, and that somebody very good would be. And she said, maybe I could get back to my life. I have a wonderful husband. Could I have a normal life for a little while? And it'll never be normal, though, will it? But Laura's been so incredible on the job she's done. I mean, she campaigned for me here twice, and the people loved her, and made it a lot easier for me. It was almost a state I didn't have to worry about. We won easily, and we won big, and along with many other states. But so I want to thank Laura. And it's really something very special. You're here for two reasons. You're here for the state, and you're here for this family, this incredible family that we talk about. I turned over the podium, and Diamond loudly and proudly declared, I want everybody to know that we stand behind Donald J. Trump. This was so early. And it was an incredible thing, because I've done a tremendous amount of work for the African American population, the black population. I always ask, what do you like better? African American, black? There's many different terms that they said, we like black. You just said, we like black. Because I was always saying African American, but many people said, we like black. And they said, call it, say whatever you want, but let's get the job done. Let's get the job done. And to have these represent so early, but I'll tell you, even later on, because we did so much for the small, in many cases, small colleges, universities, but the black colleges and universities, they would come to see me. You knew this very well, so they would come to see me. The first year they came in, and there were like about 100 presidents of the black colleges and universities that would come to see me. They call it historically black, right? And they would come in to see me, and first year they saw me, and I, met them, and they were really nice. A couple of them I really thought were incredible, actually. And I said, what do you have? Well, we have to renew the money that we need to get along. Some of these schools have so much money, but we have to make sure we get it going. I said, it's too bad that you have to come, but that's okay. Then, I got them all the money they needed, everything times a lot. I got them more than they asked for. Then they came in the following year. I didn't know this, but the following, so now it's 2 years, they came in again. I said, wait a minute, do you have to come here every year? Yes, sir, we've been doing this for many years. And he said, one of them said, it's like we're beggars. We come in, and it's like we're beggars, and we don't like having to do it. I said, you shouldn't have to be. You should be focused on your school and getting everybody well educated and do the job that so many of them were doing so well. And I got them 10-year funding, and I got them funding at a level that they couldn't believe. You remember that? It was so much higher than they were asking for. It was more than double what they were asking for. They hit pay dirt with me. Nobody ever talks about it. You talk about it, but not too many people talk about it. But Pastor, you knew that very well. You saw it. And you have an incredible lieutenant governor who's sitting up here right now. He knew it. He knew it. He's going to be, I think he's going to be your next governor. What do I know? But you have an incredible lieutenant governor, and I'm so close to endorsing you. You practically have it. He knows. When he's ready, he knows what's going to happen. Those endorsements mean a lot, don't they? But you have an incredible lieutenant governor, and you know what we did for the schools, and we're so happy to have done it. And I said the only thing I had them in, they were all like high-fiving each other. We got 10 years, we got long-term financing, everything. And I said the only thing bad is I'll probably never see you guys again, because they were great people. And I got to be very friendly with a lot of them, but I probably won't see them again, this journey of life and through life, because they have everything and they're set now for a long period of time. And we did criminal justice reform. By the way, this stuff is not in the speech that I'm writing about, but that I had these genius speechwriters. They wrote the most beautiful speech, but I think it's important to say, because you had a lot to do with what we've been able to do for the black or the African-American population of our country. And, I think it's good, because it's a celebration about what's been done. But the daughter of hard-working parents who founded their own church, think of that. Diamond held down multiple jobs as a young mother, and we've discussed it a little bit. I've watched the incredible children discuss it and the family discuss it. At one point, she had night shift in a factory from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., and then she worked at her second job on top of that, okay? I said, not a lot of time. Today, they don't talk about that. Today, it's like, can we take Fridays off? Let's not work. Let's have Fridays off, and before that, it's going to be Thursdays. How about just let's take everything off? And actually, it has worked out that you have a lot of people that aren't working at all right now. But this is just the opposite, 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., and then she went to the second job. But she did great no matter where she went. She saw her community devastated by the ravages of NAFTA. That's the worst trade deal ever made in the history of our country. And I changed it to the USMCA. That was such a bad deal. That's Mexico and Canada. And they ripped off this country for many, many decades. And everyone said, there's no way you're going to be able to end NAFTA. Just one of many things we did. We did so many things. But Space Force and rebuilt our military, biggest tax cuts in history, biggest regulation cuts in history. Right to try, that's where you can use medicine that so many people are living right now because used medicine that's very advanced, but it won't be approved for years by the FDA. And we got them, if somebody's terminally ill, they can use it instead of traveling to Europe and Asia and all the different places. And thousands of people are now living because of right to try. But she persevered, and she went through all of the challenges and the hardships and never lost that incredible, joyful spirit. On June 16th of 2015, Diamond and Silk were at home watching a certain network, which I won't name. I can't believe you were watching that network. And I announced my campaign for president, and they were lifelong Democrats, but they ultimately very quickly later said that, oh my God, he's right. This was a statement. Oh my God, he's right. Because we were talking common sense. We were talking about health, and we were talking about walls. Remember I said walls. Oh, what a horrible thing to say. Well, in the meantime, they worked. We had the safest border in our history, safest southern border in the history 2 years ago, and now we have the most unsafe, I would say, in the history of the world, because there's never been a border for a third world country that would allow a thing like this to happen, where tremendous numbers of people are coming in. Many of those people, again, are from prisons and institutions, mental institutions. They're just dumping them into the United States. It's so sad for everybody, including them, but it's so sad. And when you think of it, these countries are very smart. I know many of the leaders, and these are streetwise, very smart people. They probably can't believe with what they're dealing now. These are streetwise, tough, smart people. And when they clean out their prisons and give them to the United States, and when they clean out their mental institutions and all of these, the hundreds of millions and billions of dollars that they're saving, So, it's a shame. It's a shame, and our country's putting up with this. But Diamond knew this, and Silk knows it maybe better than anybody, and they talk about it, and they're doing something about it. People are aware of it, and I just don't think they're going to accept it. I don't think they're going to accept destroying the United States of America. I don't think they're going to accept it. And these are two of our biggest voices. When they did the video, it became a viral sensation. As soon as people saw these two incredible people and incredible characters, and like our movement itself, Diamond she was so tough and so smart and so much fun, and the combination was like it just worked. It just worked. Nobody knows why things work really, especially when it's something so amorphous. I mean, who would know why it works? You put two superstars together and it doesn't work. I mean, I shouldn't say this. I'll say it quickly. I'm sure the press won't cover it. But when I did The Apprentice, it became the #1 show on television, and it did well for years. I was on for 12 years, 14. It was so successful, they put it on a few years, twice, 2 seasons in one, which is a little unusual. And then I said, I'm going to run for president. And they said, no, please. And the heads of NBC, can you imagine? NBC loved me. Now they hate me. So maybe that's the reason. I said, no, I'm leaving. I've done it for 12 years now, 14 seasons. And it's been a tremendous success. And I want to run for president. And the head of NBC came, head of reality television came. They all came to my office to try and get me to sign a 5-year contract. 3 years, 5 years, we'll do whatever you want to do. They wanted 5, ideally. And I said, no, you can get somebody else. I said, who do you recommend? Because I've had great heart for the show, owned the show. The whole thing was Mark Burnett, who was a terrific guy, myself. We created something very special, The Apprentice, and then it turned into Celebrity Apprentice. They said, who do you like? Who do you think? And they recommended Arnold Schwarzenegger. Now, Arnold Schwarzenegger is a big movie star, right? And he, I said, that sounds like a great idea. He should be able to do well. I wanted to see it do well, although I'm not that sure about that. I had a choice. Do you understand this, Mike? If he did really well, they'd say, what the hell do we need Trump for, Trump? If he did really poorly, maybe I won't make any money if that happens. But if we did really poorly, I can say, see, I'm the only one that can do it. Well, he did really poorly. He got no ratings. That thing was a disaster. Well, they got Martha, too, right? Martha Stewart. They put her in there. That was a disaster. And then they got Arnold, and he was a disaster. So I never really figured it out. I probably will someday before it's the end for me, but I never figured it out. I don't think I've ever discussed this with anybody. You're bringing out the best in me tonight. But they got Martha Stewart. You remember that? And she was a disaster, so it's just one of those things. And the only reason I'm so nasty to her is that she was supporting Hillary Clinton. So why would I be? I don't care. When they don't support me, I don't support them. Do you understand that, Pastor? He understands it. Our lieutenant governor understands it. When they don't support me, why should we support them? But like our movement itself, they were amazing. It was an amazing movement. There's never been a movement, MAGA, Make America Great Again. When they knock it, they say, we got to stop MAGA. I said, make America great again. It's such a great, there's never been a phrase like that. I think it was, when people said, what was, because I do nicknames for people. Probably a lot of you heard this. I could name them all, but I can't because some of them are now very good friends of mine, so I promised I'd never say it again. But others aren't. Crooked Hillary and so many others. Low Energy, remember Low Energy? I mean, we could go through the whole Pocahontas. She said she was an Indian, so I called her Pocahontas, and everyone said, oh, that's terrible. Our great senator from Massachusetts, yeah, she's an Indian. She said her mother said she was an Indian, but she couldn't prove it, right? Remember 1,117, right? She was 1,017, you can't even say it, and 17th Indian. That means somewhere along the line over the last million years, somebody got into that chair. Remember? And she was so happy. She went out and she got this report from somebody, one of these guys that does this stuff, the Who are your grandparents? Who are your great-grand? And this guy gave her, and she was so happy at the fact that, probably 1 in 7,000 encounters. But she wasn't an Indian, but she said she was because she had high cheekbones. Remember that? She said that. No, that was her. She said she was because she had we talked about that. Anyway, so her name was Pocahontas. So she was. And they said, we want you to apologize to her for what you've said. And I said, so I'd like to apologize to the real Pocahontas for the real one. But she had a tremendous sense of humor, Diamond. She would have had fun today, and probably is having fun today. And she was determined to speak the truth and uncensored, unfiltered, and she was unafraid. She was really unafraid. It's true. She didn't care. Some people, when we got deep into stuff, it's tough stuff, and they sort of they were afraid. Bill Barr was afraid. He was afraid he was going to be impeached, so he didn't do what he should have done. And other people were afraid. I don't blame them, really. It's vicious. We're dealing with a vicious group of people. They're Marxists, they're communists, and in some cases they just don't know what they're doing. But, they're afraid. Diamond was not afraid. She wasn't afraid. The world came to love her signature sayings known as Diamondisms. For example, don't get it twisted, right? That was a pretty one that she used, but it came out much better when she said it than when other people said it. Diamond also had a way with rhythm and rhymes. They only smear who they fear. She liked that one. They only smear. There's truth to that. They must fear me a lot because I am getting smeared. Russia. Remember Russia? The people wouldn't talk for 2.5 years. Russia. It turned out to be a hoax. I mean, we knew it was a hoax from day one. Took 2.5 years to prove it was a hoax. And despite that, we did more than any administration probably in history in so many other ways. But we had to fight all these hoaxes. We're still fighting them. We have the boxes hoax. I call it the boxes, the document hoax. And then it turns out, how about a few days ago, I'm watching and I say, there's a breaking alert. I go, oh, here we go. Joe Biden has stored the most confidential of confidential, right? The most precious documents in an unsecured office. But that was the good part. It was the garage that's really killing it. All right? That garage is, and you look back at the Corvette, and then you look behind the Corvette, and this paper is just like dumped in a big pile. The garage is bad. And I looked up, I said, thank you. We did nothing wrong. I was president. I had the right to declassify, but I had the right to do it. I was president when I left. I was president when I arrived. I was president. I had the right to do all this stuff. It comes under the Presidential Records Act and the Sox case, which totally is good. But he wasn't. As the vice president, you come under something much different. It's the Federal Records Act, and it's very tough. And you don't have the right to declassify, et cetera, et cetera. So, hey, look, I hope he's going to be okay. And I do, but it's very tough. The good thing from his standpoint is the system is rigged. So that's the best thing he's got going. That's really the only thing he's got going. The system is rigged. And perhaps most famously, she said, we classy and we sassy, but if you cross us, things may get nasty. But, more than the sources of wit, she was a wellspring of wisdom. She was a very wise person. I think the whole family is wise when I listen to them, even the young ones. So wise, you've done well. Good, very good genes, right? And I loved your husband when you're speaking. He's standing back. I never saw a husband like this. He's so cool. And then he walks up and he keeps patting her on the back. He's the greatest husband. Where did you find it? No, seriously, it was so loving and nice. I was impressed with that. Look at them holding hands. That's good. No, I thought it was very nice. Could I have water, darling? He hands her a little water. What do you mean a guy like this? Right? That's a good combination. But about political correctness, Diamond said, we saw how people were sugarcoating things, and too much sugar makes you sick. What a great line that is. I don't know if it was somebody else's. So she probably made it up herself, because you'd think that would be a line. I've never heard it. We don't need to rewrite the Constitution. You need to reread the Constitution. And about our common bonds, Diamond said, there's only one race, the human race, as all of our lives matter. In this room, we're all together. We're all together in this crazy, beautiful, horrible, terrible, but just here we are, whether you like it or not, right? In this world. In 2016, at Silk's suggestion, the sisters prayed every day at 11:21. 11:21. The time I had announced my campaign, and when those prayers were answered and they came to see me at the White House, we had that big victory. There's never been a victory like that in this country, because it was a different kind of a candidate, to put it mildly, and nobody had ever won. Do you know, in the United States history, the history of our country, it's been either a politician or a general who won a war, Eisenhower, others, Washington, so many others, but about 92% politicians and 8% generals, military leaders. And there was never anybody that came in who did well in business and a business person that was elected president. A lot of people said for that reason it was maybe undoable. You know, we've been going on many decades of lots of elections. A lot of people tried, but they never got close. And so we had a victory in 2016 that was amazing. And we then did better in 2020 than we did in 2016. And we got screwed. We got screwed. She knew it better. She says it better than anybody. But we did better. You know, we got millions and millions more votes than we got. I was told by the leading pollster, John McLaughlin, who was a great guy, and he said, "Sir, have you got 63 million votes," which is what we got in the 2016. Nobody can beat you. Well, we got close to 75 million votes. That's the votes that they accept. That's not including the real votes, you know, the additional votes. But, right, this is the all-time expert is sitting on our stage. He's the all-time, and you know, I never knew you were so emotional, Mike. I never saw Mike like that. You must like these people, huh? You must like. He likes the two. Well, I know what it is. He's got a great show going on that does very well in the ratings, so he has to really be out there. And they do great in the ratings. But Mike is a great guy. But that was very emotional. That shows love, right? Yeah. That shows love. It's a great thing. I don't know if I want to cry, because if I do, I'm going to get, I think, the press. I was thinking about it. I was going to say, I asked actually Laura, do you think during this little platitudes, because the platitudes are great for this incredible woman, do you think if I broke down and cried, it would be a positive or a negative? If I just broke down. And I said, I can't do that. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think the base would understand? They probably would, right? I think so. She said they would, but the media wouldn't. You're right. I think you're right. So I just tell you that we had a Super Bowl party at Mar-a-Lago giving a tour to Diamond, and everybody was there, and she looked so beautiful, and it's so hard to understand what could have happened. And you know, when you got to know her, there was nobody that was kinder. There was absolutely nobody that was a more devoted person to the common sense of our country and to making our country great again. There was just nobody like her. And I'm sitting next to, and I'm standing here looking at a person that I think is going to make you so proud of what's going to, because there's so many things that has to be done. Through the tears and the grief, let us celebrate this incredible life, because we know that Diamond lived the life that God intended for her to live. She's an influencer. I noticed Silk was using the term influencer. You're an influencer. I didn't think of that term. I hear influencers, but they're usually bad influences. You're a great influencer. As she once said, we had no plans for any of this, just snowballed. God is the author of our lives. I don't have to be what they want me to be. I can be what God created us to be. That's a beautiful expression. I mean, there are so many beautiful expressions today, and many of them are just said at the podium. And you don't think I'm writing them down and have them? I have every one of them. You'll be very upset when I start quoting the lines. You say, he got that line from me. Okay. Looking around the room, we see just a small measure of the mark that she left upon the world, the lives that she touched, the eyes that she opened, the spirits that she lifted, and the love she inspired all along the way. Still is. We will miss her greatly. We will remember her always, and together we will carry on a mission that has been an amazing mission. There's never been anything like it in the history of our country. You know, I say that all the time with the press. I say there's never been a movement like MAGA, Make America Great Again, America First. You know, these are expressions, but they're very important expressions. And, you know, for the second run, I was going to go CAG. You know what that is, right? Keep America Great. I'm so glad I didn't. But the fact is, I couldn't do it because America, we were going to be using that for what we're doing and what we were doing. But America, you can't really use that expression because America has declined. It's a nation in decline. I say it in rallies. We have our great rallies, which will start in a few months. You know, the press said yesterday, he's not campaigning. He's not. You know, I announced, I just want to put my cards on the table. You poker players understand. I want to place my cards on the table. Let somebody know it's not going to be easy for you because we want to get this thing right. We had it right. We had it so right. When you look at, we're the greatest economy in the world, the most jobs ever created in this country, far more than you have today. You know, you read low unemployment, but that's because many people aren't considered unemployed because they're not looking for a job purposely. So you have a much smaller number by millions and millions of people. The difference is massive. Actually, we understand that. You know, they say 3.5, but a lot of people aren't looking for jobs, so it's not included. But we have to get it right. We have to get the whole thing right. I think we have an incredible opportunity. I believe that Diamond has made that opportunity for us. I think maybe we wouldn't have been successful without Diamond and Silk because 2016, nobody's ever seen anything like 2016. You know, when you would have, every once in a while, you'd have a politician who'd go out and it was an outlier and they'd go into a primary and they'd come in second in New Hampshire. And just coming in second in New Hampshire or coming in third in Iowa, they were assured of fame. We won everything. We ran the table. And we had Make America Great. And then we did better the second time. And we're going to do even better the third time. We're going to swamp them because somebody said, how can you stop? I actually spoke about this with Diamond because she said, how do we stop the cheating? How do we stop it where you get more votes but you still don't win? And the answer is the Republicans have to get tougher. The top people have to get tougher. And you have to really swamp them. There's a level at which even they can't produce. And so if you win big enough, you're going to get there. And then once we're there, we're going to straighten it all out and get it back to where it was. But I just want to leave by saying, Silk, we love you. I got to know you today. Diamond, we love you. I've known you for a long time. And Diamond, rest in peace. We love you so much. God bless you. And God bless everyone in this room. You're really, you're friends of mine. You're friends of this family. This family is an incredible family. And to be here for me is a tremendous honor. Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody. Tremendous honor. Thank you.
everyone. Thank you for tuning in today and watching the celebration of life for Diamond.